I have not talked about Elle Duncan in a hot minute, but I could not pass this up. We have some things we have to say about the lies she is spewing, and that is correct. I am calling her a liar. She is flat out lying. This is what they like to do continuously. I just saw this recently with someone else saying, I can't even remember what it was, but saying stuff about Caitlin Clark that we've absolutely shown to be untrue. They just wait a little while, say the same thing again, no matter how often you give them the proof, they will ignore it. And Elle Duncan is doing that here. So we're going to give her a little reminder. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Of course, shout out to the 19. Hope you're having a fantastic day. A lot of rain going on around here. Hope it's nicer where you are. So we are going to play a clip. She went on to Stephen A. Smith, and they got onto the subject of Caitlin Clark. Now, this is about a minute and a half long. I'm going to try and play the whole thing. Keep in mind, hey, look, if I think I'm going to lose my train of thought because something popped in my head, I will pause it, but I'm going to do my best, being a minute and a half, to let it go. And then I've got some things to say about this segment, about Elle Duncan, and it is very disappointing, to the point of honestly being disgusting at this point to continue to do this stuff. Let's take a listen.
I think there is nothing wrong, Stephen A, with exceptionalizing women. We exceptionalize men. We say that the face of the NBA is LeBron James. That's okay. It doesn't mean that nobody else matters or is important or their journeys aren't important. And so I think two things can be true at once. You're right. Maybe the most important figure in the W is Caitlin Clark. The best player in the W is by far Asia. The problem for me, and I think the problem for some critics from people who have exceptionalized Caitlin Clark specifically, is that a lot of the exceptionalizing is Caitlin Clark is so important to the growth and change of the W, true. And then it's the follow. But all of these other bitches ain't nothing. It's like, it's that part of it where it's like it's the compliment and then the denigration of everybody else and trying to
Right.
compliment Caitlin. And that's where I have an issue. Like, it is okay to say and to put her cover of Time magazine. It's well deserved and well earned. And honestly, the ratings and all of those things are proof. We're not arguing or debating that. For me, the
Mhm.
issue comes, and I think for some of the players in the league, comes from people going, I'm only watching Caitlin Clark and none of you are anything without her. That is
Right.
where I think a lot of the animus tension really has lived, in this idea that if you're a Caitlin Clark fan, you have to hate one else, or you have to
Mhm.
hate her perceived enemy, or you have to somehow put down the rest of the league. And
Wow, so much to unpack. Everything about this is a lie. And I just want to make sure, because I have it actually written out here. I want to make sure I have this last part correct. Um, People saying you only watch Caitlin Clark and none of you are anything without her. Okay, well, wow, there's so much to unpack. First of all of this is a lie. Again, this is a rewriting of history. Caitlin Clark fans have wanted to do nothing when she went from Iowa and everything she did there, her huge fan base that followed her in the WNBA. They wanted nothing but to be left in peace, to enjoy Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, to enjoy everything she brought to the women's game that had never been there before, to enjoy Caitlin Clark's passion and fiery competitiveness, to enjoy the logo threes, to enjoy her insane passing ability and how she gets her teammates involved and how she's able to see things long before others can, and the things that others never even see at all, even after the fact. That's all Caitlin Clark fans have ever wanted. This is a lie. This is a lie by Elle Duncan to say, oh, they have to say, oh, Caitlin Clark, and then with the insults. No, you know where that came from? And I know because I see it in the evolution of me, and I know a lot of you as Caitlin Clark fans are the same way. Go back to what I just said. They just wanted to watch Caitlin Clark enjoy basketball. And then all of a sudden, they're listening to the media, they're listening to other players, and all they hear is all these horrible things being said about them from the players, from the media, from Kathy Engelbert. Caitlin Clark fans are horrible. Caitlin Clarks are this is or that phobia or that ism and the whole 9 yards and all of it. They hate these people. They hate those people. And we said, whoa, 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 no, wait a minute. And we're not going to let you sit there and lie about us, sit there and insult us and just take it. That's absolutely absurd to think such a thing, Elle Duncan. Absolutely ridiculous on your part. This, and look, we can go by to this is why I wanted to look at that last part too, when she talks about come from people say I'm only watching Caitlin Clark and none of you are anything without her. Again, that came after the fact. That came after what we saw Kennedy Carter do. And you know what was a big part of it, Elle Duncan, was all of you in the media. You say, hey, you can just say you like Caitlin Clark. You're here to watch. You're here to watch Caitlin Clark. You enjoy watching Caitlin Clark play basketball, and leave it at that. But here's the problem, Elle Duncan. You have never done that in reverse. You yourself have never done that in reverse. No one in the WNBA has done that the other way. I mean, how many examples do we need? We can go to Cheryl Swoops lying about Caitlin Clark's college career, and Cheryl Swoops then talking about how Angel Reese is a better player. And oh, you, Elle Duncan, remember 2024? Do you remember all the way up until the Indiana Fever had a better record, and then Angel Reese eventually got hurt? It was always, no matter what the topic, but especially the gaslighting about the Rookie of the Year race, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Everything was Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You could not talk about Caitlin Clark without bringing up Angel Reese as if she was in the same universe as a player or in terms of her basketball popularity. I don't care about her social media followers. They follow her for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. Most of her fans follow her for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. You started this, Elle Duncan. You in the media lit this fire, so to speak. All Caitlin Clark fans have done is defend themselves and defend their teammate. If she had just gone into the WNBA and her fans were allowed to watch her play, you wouldn't have all of this. But no, you couldn't do that. You had to tear her down. You had to tell us that Angel Reese was just as good. Oh, but of course, you did switch it up once in a while. Sometimes it wasn't, oh, look what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are doing for the league in terms of ratings and popularity. It was no, look at what Caitlin Clark and the rookie class are doing for the league. When we all know it was Caitlin Clark 100%. Now, is there other growth that, yeah, but it came from Caitlin Clark. A- Asia Wilson, you talk about Asia Wilson. She had two MVPs before Caitlin Clark got in the league. No one knew, no one cared, no one watched. Not a million viewer game from 2000, the first game of 2008 until Caitlin Clark arrived in 2024. So don't tell us that there was all this awesome stuff. And then Caitlin Clark, as Becky Hammond said, she got, again, early in the season, Becky Hammond with the gaslighting about how the WNBA had been growing and growing and growing. And Caitlin Clark was lucky enough to get here and in here at the tipping point. And Asia Wilson with her race baiting right away before Caitlin Clark had even played, race baiting from Asia Wilson. Angel Reese, we can go back to college, man. We can go back to Angel Reese, like an insane, unhinged stalker following Caitlin Clark around the court at the end of the game while Caitlin Clark's ignoring her with the whole "you can't see me." And you all still, even Stephen A, I saw him do it recently, perpetuate the lie that Angel Reese did that because Caitlin Clark was doing that to other players. It is a lie. We know it's a lie. Haley Van Lith said it's a lie. It is an established lie, and yet you keep repeating the same lies. And here I'll call, and look, why do we have to clap back? Because without it, a lot of people believe this stuff because these are the major. She's on Stephen A. Smith's show, folks, spouting these lies. Yes, little old me, thankfully, with a little bit of help from all of you that are nice enough to support this channel. But again, relatively speaking, a 14th of 1,000 subscriber YouTube channel versus Stephen A. Smith platform, we do our best, but we got to clap back, and we hope this stuff gets out here and that you'll like and comment and subscribe and other people will see it because we just continue to get the lies. And then they'll lay low a little bit and then they'll repeat the same damn lies over and over and over again. Dawn Staley, Angel Reese's Rookie of the Year. Remember who was the first one that did the whole, well, Rookie of the Year goes out to the player on the team with the better record. Yeah, that didn't work out so well with Paige Beckers this year, did it? But as soon as, again, the Indiana Fever had a better record than the Chicago Sky, not a peep from you lying POSs in the media because you had nothing left, but you did nothing but talk, but to try and diminish Caitlin Clark and always include other players whenever you were talking about Caitlin Clark. And it has been a nonstop campaign since the beginning of 2024 to say that all of Caitlin Clark fans are racist. And that is a lie. It has been a lie. You've never shown any proof whatsoever, but you continue to perpetrate the lie because you are a garbage human being. Let me be clear. This is what a garbage human being does. You are lying. And I find it hard to believe that you don't know that this is a lie. You cannot believe what you were saying. If you do believe what you were saying, then I question how you can be on this platform. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out the video as always. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.